live from NASCAR's biggest and baddest track on the circuit, Talladega Superspeedway. It is time for more playoff racing in the Challenger Cup Series. Good evening from virtual Lincoln, Alabama, where tonight, a new production of the Precision Production Network will bring you coverage of the Challenger Cup Series as we begin the round of 8 in the playoffs. I want to wish you all good evening and welcome in high above the virtual Talladega Superspeedway, where again we will run 75 laps tonight to potentially determine the first driver headed to Phoenix in 2 weeks with a chance to race for a championship. A bit of a change tonight. We are now live on the Precision Production Network. I want to thank all of the folks over there for the opportunity to bring Challenger Cup Series racing to you on a Tuesday night, bring a new product, the Precision Production Network, as well as also make the move over there. Good folks over there, specifically, thank you to DJ Lion for some assets you're going to see me use here during the broadcast tonight. Certainly hope that you enjoy the coverage of this one from Talladega Superspeedway. With that being said, it's just about time to head down trackside. Unfortunately, a little bit behind tonight as I have in the past few weeks. Do want to issue my apologies for that one, but we do have to get down trackside and get you ready for the start from Talladega Superspeedway. And with that, we make it down trackside here at Talladega Superspeedway, and we will head to the starting grid for the first race in the round of 8 here at Talladega. On the pole with a fast time of 53.982 seconds, it is the 38, the Oscar Mayer Chevrolet of James Catrone. To his outside, it's one of the drivers that unfortunately saw his playoff run come to an end, but is back in the field tonight at Talladega searching for his first win in his rookie campaign. It's the 77 for GTCR Motorsports of Garrett Caswell. On row 2, it's a 4-time winner this season, and a brand new look aboard that number 30 machine. New DeWalt colors tonight. It's the 30 of Ryan Patty looking to cross the Superspeedway win off of his resume. And starting back in the 4th spot, it's going to be one of the men looking to advance to Phoenix tonight. It's Harold Watkins in the 3. Looking to head to the Final Four for the second straight season in this series. Certainly appears to be the championship favorite. He'll go from the outside of row number 2 tonight in the 4th spot. Row 3, it's going to be GT Irizarry, still in the playoffs as well, is the 14 machine. He'll go from position number 5. To his outside, what a season it's been for the 36 of Stephen Luttrell. Tonight, Luttrell looks to advance into his first Final Four in the Challenger Cup Series. What better place to do it than a plate track? Tonight, he'll have his opportunity. Back on row 4, it's going to be Andrew Little in the 68, our Martinsville winner from Season 1, and the Bristol winner here from Season 2. He'll go from position number 7. It'll be Matt Hayden back in position number 8. Looking to continue to break that winless drought in broadcasted races. Perhaps a new network brings him the luck that he needs. Back on row 5, Christian Strader returns again tonight in the 29. He'll go from 9th. It's Rusty Modesty looking to make the Final Four back in the 10th spot. Row 6, it's Harold Rothery in the 7 machine. He'll go from position number 11. Another playoff driver. It's the driver looking to defend his crown as Season 1 champ. It's John Velocity in the 12th spot in the 84. Back on row 7, it's Cody Eldred in the 34, one of our playoff drivers from earlier this year. Unfortunately, his run ends, but he's back at Talladega. It's pretty good on these plate tracks. He'll go from 13th. It's Jimmy Fitzmaurice. His outside in the 33. He'll go from 14th. Row 8, Brandon Beauchamp, the High Rock car, goes from 15th position. It'll be Travis Everett to his outside in 16th, looking to help his teammate GT Irizarry in the playoffs here tonight. Row 9, it's Greg Bourbonier in the 00, the Miller Lite colors aboard that Toyota. In 18th, it's Stephen Rasick in the 21. Mike Martino will round out a 19-car field. 75 laps on tap. 25 will be the stage length tonight at Talladega, the round of 8. The Challenger Cup Series begins. Real quickly before we go green, let's tell you who those drivers are. Harold Watkins in the 3, Andrew Little in the 68, GT Irizarry in the 14, and Rusty Modesty in the 6 will start above the cut line. Stephen Luttrell in the 36, Matt Hayden in the 5, John Velocity in the 84, and actually apologies, Cody Eldred in the 34 is the final driver into the round of 8. They are the 8 fighting for 4 spots in Phoenix. It begins tonight at the biggest and baddest track in all of oval racing. What better place to start their round of 8 than Talladega Superspeedway? Catrone into the restart zone. Green flag. We're racing in the round of 8 at Talladega. The field works down through the trial for the first time, and Garrett Caswell quickly fell back through the field. In fact, continues to go somewhat backwards as a driver behind him. Not very fond of him. That's Velocity in line behind the 77. Obviously, those two have had their issues this year, and Caswell continues to go backwards. Meanwhile, up front, trouble. Back behind Jimmy Fitzmaurice. The 33 gets sideways. Beauchamp's in the wall. Bourbonnier is in it. Harold Rothery gets a piece as well. And the first caution comes out just after the start of lap 2. Rusty Modesty, a playoff driver, is back here around the incident. Appears to have gotten by relatively unscathed. We'll check on the rest of the playoff cars in just a moment as well. But Fitzmaurice was the first car I saw get sideways. We'll go back and take a look at what brings out the first yellow flag of the night. Again, this was back around Jimmy Fitzmaurice. We're going to go high atop Talladega to kind of show you what happens here. Break this one down. This was towards the tail end of the field, actually more like in mid-pack. Fitzmaurice on the outside. Does he start to come back down, trying to fill the spot in line? He does. Unfortunately, Everett is there. Fitzmaurice down across the nose of Everett. He collects Harold Rothery, and he's going to come right back up the speedway here. You'll see Beauchamp coming along. Eldred is there. Eldred misses it. Bourbonnier is in it. There's one other car in it towards the tail end of the field. Not particularly sure. I think that might have been Martino. They got a piece of it as well. And Rusty Modesty weaving through the minefield, trying to miss it and keep his early playoffs alive. He does just that. And that white and pink and red number 6 on the racetrack right there, the Sinclair Ford Mustang. You see him stopping in behind the incident and making his way past it. We'll take another couple views at this, and we'll head back up front for live action. We'll go to the backstretch camera. Let's see what happens here, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, Fitzmaurice down, across Rothery, and Everett comes back up. Big damage for Beauchamp. Big damage there for Rothery as he gets the outside wall. Bourbonnier may have just spun. We'll try to take a better look at him here in just a second. But big damage on the 15, the 33, and the 7. As Chaos collects those 3 early in the race, and Bourbonnier as well. Let's take another look. Watch Bourbonnier back behind this. Now he gets a couple solid hits in there too. Martino's actually got quite a bit of damage as well, so we'll check on all 5 of those cars when they come back around and see what the status is on all of them. But the first caution flag of the night flies here on lap number 3. Well, Harold Watkins is out front. How many times have you heard me say that this season in the Challenger Cup Series? And it's because he's had another really good one in this season, too. You see a couple drivers going to dip to pit road. James Catrone, Ryan Patty going to take the left-hander down pit road. Travis Everett, Harold Rothery, Eldred, Beauchamp, Rasick, Modesty, Bourbonnier, Fitzmaurice, and Martino will come to the aid of their crews as well. So as we enter the round of 8 again, Talladega this week, Martinsville next week will determine the final 4 that head to Phoenix in a couple of weeks. Also, it will determine if any new drivers will join the 4 from Season 1 in that big extended championship race in Atlanta in 3 weeks' time. So keep an eye out for that as well as we check and see who joins our final 4 from this year. In that final 4, or excuse me, from earlier in the year in Season 1, in that final 4 in Atlanta at the end of the season. So be aware of that. Phoenix in 2 weeks is not the last race of the year. It's actually going to be in Atlanta on November the 11th. Will be the final race of the Challenger Cup Series season. But Harold Watkins leads right now with the best position on the cut line in the field. It's not relatively close. Coming into tonight, Watkins was 27 points above the cut line. Coming into Talladega here tonight, the next closest car, I'm trying to actually do math here. He's actually 31 points above Stephen Luttrell in 5th. So it's 31 for Watkins. It's 8 points for Andrew Little in 2nd. It is 6 points for GT Irizarry, and it is 4 points for Rusty Modesty. That leaves Luttrell and Matt Hayden at 4 points below the cut line. John Velocity is 10 points below the cut line. Cody Eldred is also 10 points below the cut line. So everyone from 2nd to 8th is all bunched together. Harold Watkins enjoys a bit of a gap in the first position. And again, no surprise. Harold Watkins this year, 4 wins, 3 stage wins. He got 15 points for being the regular season champion. He's earned 38 playoff points this year to advance him to that 31-point number above the cut line. Of course, next best in the playoffs is Andrew Little. He only has 1 win, no stage wins, and those 10 bonus points for his season finish. So, obviously, Watkins has built the advantage. He's run well most of the year. Did not have the start that I think many of us expected after a 5-win season in Season 1. I don't think he got the start that many of us expected. But after the win in Iowa, that kind of broke the streak, got the monkey off his back. He has been very, very good since then. And really in the playoffs has ramped it back up to championship form, going, of course, to the championship that you could very well say deserved back in season number 1. If you ask him, he'd say that anyway. But some interesting storylines up front. I think the first one is on the outside of the front row, and it's Steven Luttrell. He won the season opening race at Atlanta Motor Speedway to book his spot in the playoffs. And then not only that, did not go two, and I'm going to use a very niche college baseball saying here, did not go 2 in barbecue. So when you get to the end of the season in college baseball, the very end of the season, the last 8 teams, ironically enough, show up at the College World Series. If you lose your first 2 games, you get eliminated, and it's what is called going 2 in barbecue, which, again, you lose 2 games, and you get to go barbecue. You get to go celebrate your summer. So Luttrell said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not just going to go 2 races and be out. I'm going to fight. I'm going to claw. I'm going to scratch my way into the round of 8. And he did just that. And lucky enough for him, or not really lucky, but it worked out that Talladega opens the round of 8. This is a drafting track. This is where Luttrell ran well earlier. It's obviously where he got his win. He's run well other places. He ran really well, by the way, in Las Vegas last week in the cutoff race. But Talladega gives an equal opportunity to go up and win. And Steven Luttrell could punch a ticket to the Final Four tonight that I don't think any of us would have expected. And that's not meant to be disrespectful to Steven Luttrell by any means. It's just he was not, among those 4 drivers that I think many of us had circled. You obviously circle Watkins. You circle a GT Irizarry, maybe an Andrew Little, maybe a Christian Strader. Obviously, Strader's had some things that, he's had to go part-time towards the end of the season. That did not work out, but you probably circle him. You circle, a Travis Everett even, or a John Velasquez, the defending champ, or, there's a number of drivers I think that you could have circled for a Final Four. Luttrell just did not quite make that group, but is only 70 laps away from potentially being in Phoenix in 2 weeks with a chance to win a title. Back here, green on lap 6. It is 70 laps to go at Talladega Superspeedway. It's a good start for Watkins on the bottom, but the help is better on the top. Luttrell pushed by Irizarry, pushed by Caswell. Strader's in line up there, but the inside gets rolling better on the banking. Watkins gets the help first. It's Matt Hayden in the 5, the Oakley Chevy, who comes into tonight below the cut line, looking to win his way into Phoenix in 2 weeks and also break a streak that goes back at this point a year and a half, almost 2 years it feels like, that this streak goes backwards for Matt Hayden not winning a race that I've been on the mic for. Going to end that streak tonight is the Oakley Chevy. He's got Andrew Little down there. If Andrew Little can put up a decent performance tonight, going to Martinsville next week where he won back in May, certainly could make for some interesting things there as well. Andrew Little coming into tonight above the cut line, but not in a very favorable position, I guess. Needs to run well tonight, get some stage points perhaps, and try to contend for the win. Meanwhile, up on the outsides where the push is, new leader in Talladega, Steven Luttrell, going to take his first time out front. Irizarry goes with him. Caswell tries to go with him. Both trouble, and Watkins is involved. Harold Watkins into the outside wall, the championship favorite. The big one strikes on the exit of turn number 2, and multiple playoff cars are involved. At least 4 playoff drivers involved in an incident in turn 2 that started when Garrett Caswell cleared down across the nose of Harold Watkins. And around went a bunch of them on the banking of turn 2, and Watkins appears to have a little bit of damage. Andrew Little's got some damage. There's a couple more cars here involved as well. Cody Eldred is towed to pit road. That's a playoff car also. And John Velasquez was the other one that I saw get a piece of this over in turn number 2. Wow. So lap 8, Talladega strikes, and it starts up here around Garrett Caswell, and you're going to see an example right here, and I've been doing Superspeedway racing pretty commonly for the last couple of years in terms of broadcasting. You're going to see an example right here of what we like to call tunnel vision. And what I'm talking about is the 77 is going to see the 14 of Irizarry start to kind of pull down the racetrack when these two get clear to the lead. He's following, still following right here, and you're watching the bumper of the guy in front of you. And what can happen is when that guy starts to go down, you start to go down, and Caswell starts to roll down the hill just a little bit and drives across the nose of Harold Watkins. Now, there is a bit of netcode there. Obviously, they were going to hit anyway. It was just a matter of time. Big hit there for Eldred into Watkins. Modesty's in it as well. Man, there are 5 playoff cars involved in this. Ryan Patty gets a piece. There's Eldred into Velocity. Caswell's involved. Further back, I think a couple more cars get into this. Modesty, big left front damage on the 6. The Sinclair Ford has major left front suspension damage aboard that car. You see Ryan Patty up ahead spinning. I think Velocity's got pretty big damage here. As Caswell comes to a stop, he's pretty beaten up. Eldred went right to the pits, and the playoff field goes kaboom in turn 2 and throws the entire playoff picture on its head on lap 8. Let's go back and take another look here as we get our second caution of the night. We'll try to get on this backstretch camera again. This one tends to be pretty good. For incidents that happen over here in turn number 2, you're going to see what I mean. Actually, Watkins is coming up just the slightest bit, so they may have met in the middle just a little. Caswell is working down. It is still tunnel vision. Boy, some weird stuff going on there with the 3 and the 68. The 38 of Catrone's involved as well. Man, this is half the field. Travis Everett gets a piece. There's 10 cars involved in this. Matt Hayden's got damage as well in the Oakley Chevy. There's 10 or 11 cars involved in this. And 5 are playoff cars. No, excuse me, 6 with Matt Hayden are playoff cars. Luttrell and Irizarry, the only 2 playoff cars to get away from this thing unscathed. On just the 8th lap in Talladega, 6 of the 8 round of 8 cars have come under some misfortune. We'll take one more look at it here and, again, just give you a look at what exactly happens. Caswell's starting to come down. Watkins is about a half a lane off the bottom. And they really kind of come together. And, boy, look at this junkyard over here in turn 2. Major damage to the 34 and the 6 at least. We'll check on everybody else. I can tell you, there are multiple cars on pit road getting service from their crew. Velocity, Watkins, Caswell, Everett, Eldred, and Little were all on pit road for extended periods. And some still continue to sit there. Boy, oh boy, the playoff field has been turned upside down. And who benefits more than Stephen Luttrell, who had just gotten to the race lead when this started? And now finds himself in a really, really interesting position now. 4 points below the cut. Drivers behind him have had problems. And now he's in a really good position to maybe capture some stage points and be above the cut line when we head into stage 2. So and again, I say the word underdog not with any disrespect. That's not obviously the goal of Stephen Luttrell here. I don't want to disrespect the good season that he's had. Coming into tonight, he did have the win at Atlanta, got points for his regular season points finishing, got 7 playoff points this year. So, the stats back up that Stephen Luttrell's had a pretty good year. He's got 5 top 5s and 12 top 10s. He definitely deserves to be in the round of 8. So when I say underdog, I don't say it like that. But when you get to the round of 8, you tend to see who kind of the favorites are to get back into the championship 4. And I think coming into tonight, those cars were Watkins in the 3 for obvious reasons. Little in the 68 because of the prowess at Martinsville. And just the second half he's had since he won back at Bristol. Irizarry, GT Irizarry, who ran extremely well last week at Las Vegas and punched his ticket to this round. He was going to get in anyway, but decided to win last week in dominant fashion. And I think John Velocity kind of placed himself as that 4th car over the last 4 or 5 weeks with the speed that he had displayed in getting to this point. So I think once you get to the round of 8, you kind of have your favorites that are left. Some years are different than others, and I just don't think Luttrell was in that group. So for him to be running this well this early in the round, look out, because he could seriously This could be very interesting if he's racing in Phoenix here in 2 weeks, especially considering the speed he had at Las Vegas last week. So anything can happen. And it all starts here, obviously, at Talladega. Still 65 to go. Luttrell and Irizarry on the front row. Let's take another shot at it. 65 to go, 15 to go in stage 1. Still a long ways to go in the race. And green flag back in the air, and off and running was Luttrell, but his help didn't really get the memo. But man, how about Irizarry? And trouble on the race start. Beauchamp came down, and he starts to spin, and we got another crash. And another caution. And Christian Schrader's car is destroyed. Talladega claiming victims early and often in the round of 8 race, and Schrader's got to go right to pit road, and he joins Cody Eldred there. And Beauchamp will do the same. So a rough start here tonight at Talladega. 3 cautions in the opening 11 laps. And this one got started, man, what happened? Beauchamp is way off the pace. What happened here? This looks kind of like a technical failure. Let's see. Oh, it's more tunnel vision for Beauchamp, and boy, oh my goodness! Christian Schrader up and off the ground with the contact from Beauchamp. Let's go back and show you the contact again. So look at here. He pulls down, and Beauchamp just follows him. And Schrader annihilates the inside wall and torpedoes the motor on that car. Obviously was not going anywhere after that. Comes to a stop. Beauchamp as well. Let's give you a couple more looks at this one. This one's going to be a pretty good angle right here. This will actually give you a good angle of what happens to Beauchamp too. Watch Irizarry and watch Beauchamp just follow him. Again, it's like you're looking down a tunnel. And you're looking at the guy in front of you. Man, that's a big hit. For Christian Schrader. We'll try to take a look at one more angle of it. And then we'll go back under the green flag. This one might be good. See if this one's any good. Oh! You hear the motor go right there, so the engine expired. May very well be the night. We'll see. It's going to take a while to tow that car back to pit road. We'll see if Schrader decides to continue. Beauchamp continues to sit on pit road. Cody Eldred, by the way, went 2 laps down. And is trying to get those back as we pace under another caution flag. So tough break there for Christian Schrader and Brandon Beauchamp. But again, so it's a very interesting phenomenon when you're it literally looks like you're looking down a tunnel. Say you're looking down a train tunnel. And you know, you're looking down that tunnel and you can kind of see the end, but your eyes kind of focus on that. And not really anything around you in your peripherals. It's the same phenomenon here. When you're focused on kind of the center of the bumper of the guy in front of you to make sure you're following and being able to push correctly. And then when that guy starts to move, well, you're just naturally, focused. Your eyes are trained on that bumper and you start to drift down or up. And all of a sudden there's another car there. You come together and an incident starts. And that's what tends to happen. Oh, man, almost a moment there. Eldred was getting a lap back and Luttrell was deciding his lane on the restart, I thought. But, maybe a little bit of fun there between a couple of those guys as well. So, looks like they are in the same communications channel. So, could very well have just been some fun between those two drivers there under the caution flag. So we'll get ready to go back under the green flag once again. It'll be 12 laps to go in stage 1. Still 61 to go in the race. Make it 62 to go in the race, sorry. 62 to go in the race. Actually double check that stage length for you. Stage is actually only 6 laps away. errors and omissions tonight on the Precision Production Network. Do want to thank everybody for coming out, by the way. I wondered how the transition would go over to the Precision Production Network. Again, I want to thank the folks over there. Some really great people I get to work with on a weekly basis. Of course, tomorrow night, I'll get to go right back here to virtual Talladega and call the OB Builders Cup Series, the Moonshiners Racing League playoffs here from Talladega as they begin they work through their round of 8. And going to get to work with the great Justin Prince in the broadcast booth. And, of course, big thanks to DJ Lyon. He kind of works behind the scenes, does a lot of work for what you see on screen across all of our products on a weekly basis. But I want to thank all the folks over there. It's really good people. So I want to thank those folks for bringing on this product as well. Certainly a good platform for a great series that we've had this season. And what better way to kind of start that relationship than with the final races of a championship campaign on the Precision Production Network. Got some confirmation in the chat, and I wondered about this at first, but I stopped myself from saying it. It was not tunnel vision on the Brandon Beauchamp machine, so apologies to Brandon and anybody watching that is supporting the High Rock Vodka Chevrolet. It was a technical issue. I wondered on the start itself, that's what it looked like to me. Was a wheel coming undone, or a plug coming out, or a screen going black. So it definitely, obviously, has happened to all of us before. It's happened to me before. So completely understand and do want to apologize for the error there on Brandon Beauchamp. So it was a technical problem on the Beauchamp machine, which caused him, of course, to come down into straighter. It's just a tough break that it took another car with him. And obviously, I'm sure Brandon is feeling the brunt of that right now, but tough break there for Beauchamp and for Christian Strader. So we will go back under the green flag. Steven Luttrell continues to lead, and again, the longer this stage goes with Luttrell out front, the better this is going to potentially be for his points scenario. If he can capture a few stage points here, the cut line becomes very, very interesting. Not only in the second stage of this race, but also headed to Martinsville next week. And all the chaos that race could bring. Luttrell with a massive opportunity here to completely change the prognosis of his season in a race like Talladega, but he's got a ways to go to do it. Still 5 to go in the stage, and 61 to go in the race. Luttrell, Irizarry into the restart zone, green flag. Luttrell on the loud pedal. Rothery didn't really go very well behind him, but again, Irizarry's going to be able to drop down in line. And the Motorcraft Dark Horse continues to work with Luttrell here on lap 15. You make friends where you find them, and Irizarry says, I know you're another playoff car, but hey, we can help each other out, be mutual benefit here, and both better our positions headed into Stage 2 and then into Martinsville next week. So Irizarry will push Luttrell. Inside 4 clear, make it almost 5 as Fitzmaurice is down there. Outside is Patty, Bourbonier, Hayden, Modesty, Little, Catrone, and I believe the lap machine of Cody Eltree. Into turn 3, here comes the outside line. Patty leads that, but man, Bourbonier has to drop off just a little bit. The outside trying to get going up on the second lane of the racetrack, and the next-gen car has raced very differently here at Talladega than it did before the previous major iRacing update. It's mostly 2 lines of dominant racing. Kind of like the real-life car. When you get lined up multiple cars deep, it's kind of like it used to be. Obviously, Sunday's Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, the last 25 laps showed that something in the rules package has changed, so potentially iRacing will have to go back and start to make some changes there. Fitzmaurice out to the outside. He's going to jump in front of Ryan Patty, and that will kind of give that line a little bit of a boost with another car up there as they try to get going towards the front. When they get back, 3 laps to go in Stage 1. The best thing Luttrell can see right now is five playoff cars behind four non-playoff cars behind he and Irizarry that are potentially going to steal away stage points and allow those two to really benefit off of this. Matt Hayden is really in the best position, I think, to capitalize. Velocity is close as well. Fitzmaurice to the outside of Racing. Now to the outside of Rothery, and here comes the outside. 3 laps to go in stage 1. They race 2x2. Back to turn number 1. And up the banking. 33 degrees of banking here at Talladega Superspeedway. Luttrell and Irizarry and Rothery still clear. They will pull to the outside of Rothery again onto the Alabama Gang super stretch. Luttrell continues to lead the way. Irizarry continues to be a loyal soldier for now, but how long does that last? Notably, the teammate of Irizarry, Travis Everett, is trapped towards the back, so Irizarry will have to find friends throughout the field here. He will not be able to always rely on his teammate, the Black Rifle Mustang. He will have to go other ways for some teammates here and some help here at Talladega to get himself in the round of 8. Caswell going to jump out around from Racing. Top 3 pulling away just a little bit. 2 laps to go. Stage number 1. That might secure John Velocity at stage point. Caswell didn't time that very well. Fitzmaurice is not really to him, and that will be the race for the final stage point. Velocity in the 77 of Caswell. 2 drivers that don't particularly like one another, I wouldn't think. Velocity going to think about jumping to the outside. I don't know how much he really wants to work with a 77 of Caswell. Watkins through to 6th. He's all the way back to the front of the field now. He's on the back bumper of Velocity, and those will be the cars that I would watch to make a move on the outside when we come back around. It'll be 1 lap remaining in stage 1. When they get back to the start-finish line, we're going to settle stage 1 under the green flag most likely. And trouble out back. Fitzmaurice is around. He's going to clobber the inside wall, but I don't think it's going to draw the caution. It's a single-car incident, and if Fitzmaurice is able to get that car off the banking, and he will not be able to, stage is over. It's official. Stephen Luttrell is the winner of stage 1 at Talladega under the caution on lap 19. Luttrell captures 5 stage points and a huge swing in the playoff point picture will put Luttrell above the cut line. Headed into stage number 2, GT Irizarry is going to extend his gap over the cut line to 6. And the other driver that's going to make a bit of a stride is John Velocity. But with Luttrell jumping onto the cut line, it's going to be a net nothing for John Velocity. He'll still, I believe, be minus 10. So Velocity does capture a point, breaks even there in the stage with the cut line, but huge, massive swing for Stephen Luttrell as he now is up above the cut line and continues to lead the way at Talladega here on lap 19. What we're going to do now is we're going to test one of YouTube's new features, this Take a Break feature that we've got. If I can find it here. We're going to take a quick break as we always do here from Talladega. We'll be right back in just a moment. From Talladega Superspeedway, you're watching coverage of the Precision Production Network and the Challenger Cup Series Round of 8 from Talladega. We'll be right back. Want to welcome you back to Talladega Superspeedway as we had a quick break here at Talladega. Let me know in the chat, by the way. Utilize the chat. Glad to see everybody in chat tonight. I want to shout everybody out. Ryan, Patty, and William Luttrell using the chat. The Stephen Luttrell fan club's in the house, and boy, they're feeling pretty good right now, aren't they? Luttrell continues to lead her on lap 21, but do let me know. Number one, if that worked and it showed you some kind of ads or a break screen or something like that, let me know if it worked. And we may utilize that going forward. Hopefully our only break of the night, so we only got 54 laps to go here at Talladega. We're about to enter stage number 2 of this one. And again, Luttrell continues to lead. Travis Everett is up to the second spot. It'll be the Harold and Harold show on row 2. Harold Watkins on the inside and Harold Rothery on the outside. Garrett Caswell, James Catrone on row 3. Ryan, Patty, GT Irizarry on row 4. Andrew Little, John Velocity on row 5. Your playoff update, playoff drivers running 1st, 3rd, 8th, 9th, 10th, 13th, 15th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's your playoff update as of lap 21. Luttrell back into the restart zone, green flag back in the air, and that bright orange Camry's looked awfully good tonight at Talladega. Can he finish the job? He's got 54 laps to do so. Now above the cut line as of the moment. If he can settle on a good finish, he's going to go to Martinsville in a really good position to race into the Final Four in Phoenix. He leads now off of turn 2 and again onto the Alabama Gang Super Stretch with 54 laps to go. Notably, the sun is starting to go down. I'm hoping that will not become an issue because there is quite a bit of darkness cast over the back straightaway here as the sun is going down, I believe, over the grandstands back behind the tri-oval on the front stretch. We'll see if that presents an issue later in the race, but that sun is 100% setting behind the grandstands, so we'll wait and see if that presents any problems for this race going forward. Luttrell in the bumper of Watkins, he leads. Caswell's on the outside now, leading that line in front of Catrone. Catrone trying to push him square, doing everything he can to get Caswell to the front. Garrett Caswell looking for win number 1, again of his career, is yet to go to victory lane in a Challenger Cup Series event. Trying to make tonight win number 1 is Garrett Caswell. Patty thinking about it, but drops back down, does the 30. Patty has ticked off a wins at basically every kind of track so far, and Superspeedway just is not one of them, so going to check off another box, but Caswell grabs his right rear, tries to work up to the outside of him for the 4th position. As Luttrell continues to tick off laps led. And I wondered coming into tonight, as I was thinking about tonight and obviously doing my prep work for this race, I wondered about Stephen Luttrell, and I wondered what kind of performance we'd see from the Atlanta winner tonight. Based on a top 5 run last week at Las Vegas, obviously was able to get him into this round. Would we see the Atlanta version of him come back? That race-winning, killer instinct plate racing driver that could very easily put his name in the Final Four once the next 52 laps are complete. He's got a ways to go. Obviously, a pit stop, at least 1, maybe 2, still to be completed. But as of right now, things looking pretty good for the driver of that 36. They're looking good for Harold Watkins, though, back in the 2nd spot. Watkins, again, way above the cut line. Didn't get any stage points, but obviously doesn't really need them, I guess. Still nearly 30 points above the cut line, so. Big run to the outside by the 2nd lane. Caswell all the way to the middle. Up and around Luttrell comes the GTCR Motorsports entry of Garrett Caswell. This is where he started the race, and he's back to that 2nd spot now for the time being. Headed back into turn number 3. He'll side draft very hard. Caswell, an experienced plate racer on the league and money racing side of things. He has been around the block. He's won in several different leagues and promotions, and now brings his talents to Challenger Cup Series racing, where he was good at Atlanta. He was good at Daytona. Looking to continue that streak here into the Alabama Plains with just 50 laps to go in the round of 8 race from Talladega. Halfway, just about 12 laps from right now. Really tight side draft up front. Caswell daring to go closer than any driver has so far, but it's keeping that outside lane competitive. And up alongside the leaders right now. Push has not been quite as good up on the outside as it is down on the bottom with Luttrell and Watkins. But Caswell is keeping this line in it and keeping himself close to the race lead and poking a nose out front. At times into the race lead. He'll do so likely again here off turn 4. He'll take a couple turns leading the field for the first time tonight at Talladega. Looking again for win number 1. He's going to go all the way to the lead. Down he goes to the bottom. Wouldn't let Catrone get down there, but now Catrone will challenge him for the front. James Catrone to the outside of Garrett Caswell. These two now on the front row. Luttrell in a pushing position. Andrew Little, GT Irizarry, Rusty Modesty, Cody Eldred. A quartet of playoff cars now make their way to the front. And all of a sudden, now the outside is the line with the momentum. Catrone the lead. Little and Irizarry both going to get clear to the bottom. Let's see if they turn left. Headed here for turn 3. They will stay up on the second lane of the racetrack and continue to work second and third behind Catrone in 3. Middle lane all of a sudden has got a ton more momentum. I'm not sure really what happened there. The pushing's just been better up there. I mean, this group is actually driving away from the 4th car on back in line, and they're driving away from the bottom as well. Really good stuff up front for Catrone, Little, and Irizarry. Modesty, Eldred going to get clear. Rothery's going to get clear. And all of a sudden, the front is completely shuffled. Who's going to be the first to take the move and take the real estate on the bottom? Caswell, Luttrell continue to lead that with Watkins, Velocity, Racing, and Martino, making the only 6 cars on the bottom. Who's going to be the first again to take that left turn? There's a lot of real estate down there. Who's going to be the first to do it? Coming back, 47 laps to go at the line. Again, almost halfway home here at Talladega Superspeedway. We await, I would say, 2 rounds of green flag pit stops. We'll see if it ends up being 2 or just 1. But at least 1, I would lean towards 2. And that's going to shake the field up a lot as well. A lot of cars bailing in the middle. Still only 6 cars down on the bottom. 3 wide back around Ryan Patty. And he's the odd man out up against the safer barrier now. So he's going backwards. Let's see if Matt Hayden chooses to pick him up. He will. Bottom line starting to make a little bit of headway. Not a ton, but they're up alongside of Travis Everett. Now they're alongside of Bourbonier. Now all of a sudden, the inside's got some headway. Now let's see if they gain some players. They're up alongside Bourbonier. Now they're to the left rear of Harold Rothery. Off turn 4, they continue to work forward. Luttrell has settled into that pusher's role and now is alongside Cody Eldred with Garrett Caswell. So all of a sudden, here comes the bottom. They rally to the inside of the 5th place car, and Irizarry is going to put Little in the sucker hole just a little bit, or what is the sucker hole right now, and that's the bottom. Big blink from one of the cars on the outside lane. That was Modesty that was gone for a considerable time, but they all got through it. Now, with the cars on the bottom, Caswell and Luttrell are able to drive right back up to the lead by towing off the back of those race cars. They're right back in the conversation, and Caswell, an experienced plate racing driver, is going to be the lead pusher on the bottom, and sure enough, pushes Andrew Little all the way to the race lead for the first time. New leader, the Waterford Concepts, number 68, as Catrone tries to fight back on the outside. 45 to go to be 31 laps on the board when we come back around to the start-finish line. Tight side drafting here in the tri-oval. Oh, man, bolt pushes go awry. 3 wide. Little thrown in the middle. To the outside come Catrone and Irizarry as Caswell sends Little in the sucker hole. And now Modesty gets hung out. Eldred goes down to pick up Little. Rothery's going to go pick up Modesty, and it's 3-by-3 at Talladega. Catrone and Irizarry are loving this. What they see behind them, they're able to scoot away for just a moment and catch their breath. Caswell threw on the inside. He put Little in the middle lane. Little's got the better help, but not enough of a run. Luttrell to the back of Caswell, and Caswell's the big winner out of that one. It's all the way to 3rd. Modesty on the outside. He's got help from Rothery and Bourbonier. Middle lane, Little, Eldred, Everett. Little, Eldred, Everett, Patty, and Beauchamp. as Modesty, Rothery, and a couple of others go all the way to the back. Catrone on the nose of Caswell. They'll go to the race lead, and in fact, 1 and 2. Now Luttrell to the inside of Irizarry for third, as Little catches the back of the Motorcraft Mustang Dark Horse. They'll try to get the middle lane working again. And with 44 to go, it's a revolving door at the front of the field. Playoff cars, non-playoff cars, going back and forth, duking it out for the lead at Talladega Superspeedway. We can all kind of catch our breaths there for a moment. That was a big moment for a couple playoff cars. Caswell leans out around Catrone. He wants the lead. Irizarry's coming to him. Those two necessarily don't like each other very much. And right there, you see why. Irizarry up around the outside of Caswell. Back in Atlanta, those two got into it, and obviously Caswell's had his run-in since then. Caswell's going to throw the block. Irizarry's still going to split him. So Caswell went up once to pick up Irizarry. Irizarry split him once. And just went up to throw a block on him on the outside. Irizarry said no thank you and jumped around him again. Irizarry to the lead to the outside of Garrett Caswell. 2x2 up front. Beauchamp going to lean out and get put 3 wide, further back 5 rows deep in the field. Caswell in the help of Catrone. Irizarry in the help of Little. Beauchamp is in the wall. And now fanning way out here off turn number 4. Patty to the middle of Andrew Little. Ryan Patty splits out to 68. Says, I don't care about your playoff spot. I'm going to go up here and try to lead this race. And pushes Irizarry back into the race lead. 42 laps to go at Talladega, almost halfway home. Patty to second. Eldred to third. Cody Eldred could make some waves if he wins tonight as well. The last driver into the round of 8. To the inside comes Travis Everett. Remember, Travis Everett won the Talladega race back in April in Season 1. Rusty Modesty, the Daytona winner from earlier this season, is in the conversation now as well. A lot of shuffling going on here. Little down to the bottom now as Everett's pushed by Caswell, pushed by Little, pushed by Luttrell. Outside is Irizarry, Patty, Eldred, Modesty, Rothery. Great stuff here at the front of the field between all these drivers. Man, the outside got way squirrely there in turn 2 off the bumper of Ryan Patty was Irizarry. And that's going to lead Everett to the lead. Caswell jumps out around the 13 of Everett. Finally, Caswell gets someone to go with him. He'll go right back to the bottom in front of the 13. New leader in Talladega. It's again the GTCR entry of Garrett Caswell. So Caswell clearly wants to win this race. I think that's pretty obvious by now. But making very aggressive moves here at the front of the field. To get there. Little to the outside. He's got Irizarry with him. And they're going to split to the middle, and Andrew Little gets split again. Boy, second time in 3 laps. Andrew Little's been thrown into the middle lane. Eldred wanted to let him in, I think, just didn't have a gap to it. And now Andrew Little's going to go all the way outside the top 10. And actually go all the way back around Catrone as well. Way to the tail end goes Andrew Little. Outside's where the momentum is. Irizarry to the outside of the lead. He's got Patty and Eldred, with him. Top 2 are clear. Patty turns left. Ryan Patty wants the lead. He hangs GT Irizarry on the outside. Now it's the DeWalt Chevy. Pushed by another Chevy. That is Caswell. On the outside, it's the Ford of Irizarry. Pushed by the Chevy of Cody Eldred. They'll drop all the way to the battle for third as the top 2 tandem away for a moment. 39 laps to go at Talladega. It is fast and furious on the high banks tonight in the round of 8. And fantastic racing it's been so far. Everett jumps outside. Does Luttrell opt to go with him? No, he's going to stay in line 4th on the inside as he works back to the front of the racetrack, front of the field. Off turn 2 and on to the Alabama gang super stretch again. Top 4 clear. Here comes Watkins through to 5th. Velocity trying to get through to 6th. And Caswell is going to end up going backwards. This time Ryan Patty wants the race lead. Caswell's going to get knocked out of line. Backwards he goes. Ryan Patty now the leader at Talladega in the 30. The DeWalt Chevy to the race lead. Everett to second. Luttrell to third. Irizarry splits Caswell again. Irizarry, Watkins, Velocity not showing any grace. The driver of the 77. Irizarry up to the fence to rim ride with Eldred and Modesty. They're not going the right direction at all. As we hit halfway, 38 on the board, 38 to go at Talladega. Patty, Everett, Luttrell, Watkins, Velocity are top 5 as the field works closer to lap 40 and eventually a pit cycle which will likely break the field up just a little bit. We'll obviously wait and see when that pit stop happens, but it will break up the field when it does. As guys get ready to come to the service of their pit crews here off turn 4. No takers yet. So we'll continue to await that lap. Field is starting to single out, though, and that tells me they're getting ready to make a pit stop. And if that's the case, it will be 2 green flag pit stop cycles needed in this race. The most interesting cars to watch here on pit road are going to be the 36 of Luttrell, the 84 of Velocity. Really, those are the 2 most interesting cars at this point. I think Eldred is as well, considering their playoff positions right now. It's really the 4 guys below the cut line just to see if they can hang with the lead pack. I think Luttrell's the most interesting of any of them. If he can nail this pit stop, I think he's in a good position. He knows how to win once he gets up there. Really just wants to salvage a good finish. 39 up. Does anybody come down this time? No takers, but everybody has singled out. So we're into that lull in a Talladega race where these guys want to log laps, make it to a pit stop, and they start to think about fuel strategy. Obviously, that's where we're at in the race at this point in time. Guys are beginning to think about when they're going to pit. Not only that, their execution on pit road becomes a major part of this portion of the race. You don't want to slide your tires getting on pit road. You don't want to spin your car. You don't want to speed or miss pit road entry or hit another car or slide through your box or speed on exit. One car's lost the draft. It's Rusty Modesty. Not sure what happened there, but the 6 has lost the draft, and that is a really tough break for that car. Fitzmarie, by the way, Jimmy Fitzmarie's Christian Strader behind the wall. They have called it a night. Brandon Beauchamp is 1 lap down. Modesty, a playoff car, has lost the draft and will now need a caution to get back in this race. Lap 40 on the board, make it 35 to go. 41 goes on the scoring tower. 35 laps remain in this one from Talladega. Patty the leader. Everett, Luttrell, Watkins, Velocity are top 5. The rest of the cars in the lead pack. Garrett Caswell 6th, Harold Rothery 7th, GT Irizarry 8th, Stephen Rasick in 9th, James Catrone in 10th, Greg Bourbonnier in 11th, Cody Eldred in 12th, Andrew Little in 13th, Matt Hayden in 14th, and Mike Martino in 15th. Those are the cars in the lead draft right now as we speak. Pit stops likely coming up. You would think pretty soon. We'll wait and see when that, again, does happen. When they come around, it is now 34 laps to go. Usually, when they single file out like this, it means that we're going to see pit stops and we're going to see them urgently. I genuinely am beginning to wonder, is the sun a factor in this racing? What do I mean by that? You see over here in turn 3 how much darkness is already being cast above this speedway. And, well, right as I say that, we're going to make some pit stops. Patty, Luttrell, Watkins, Velocity, Caswell, and Catrone are the first 6 cars on pit road. They all nail the entry. That was really good stuff by all 6 of these race cars. That was really impressive. But pit stops have begun. And so now this group will likely have to respond. And it'll be about 7, no, make it 8 cars. And then 10 if you want to count Beauchamp and Martino, but I don't think they're close enough to catch on to this group. This is Everett, Rothery, Irizarry, Rasick, Eldred, Little, Bourbonnier, and Hayden. And I imagine they will respond this time by with 33 to go to make their pit stops. Here they come to pit road. You don't want to speed. You don't want to spin. Everett's a little bit quick. But everybody makes it on pit road for this group as well, including Martino and the Beauchamp, or excuse me, just Martino. Beauchamp decides to stay out. These cars on pit road. As I flip through cameras, they're trying to find the right one here. We'll watch the wide pit lane angle so you can see these guys come off pit road and kind of see where that first group cycles out at. They're in the tri-oval right now, so they're going to get there, but it's going to be pretty much one cohesive group, as this group will fly by the line. But this group is not connected. Everett had a really good stop, but they are not connected in the slightest. That's going to benefit that first group. And here comes the first pit group. They're going to come off pit road, and they're going to lose 6 cars off this pack, maybe more. And here comes that group. Everett thought about throwing the block. It's unsuccessful, and Caswell goes back to the lead. These 3 cars will catch the draft. The cars behind them will not. So Rasick, Bourbonnier, Eldred, Hayden, Martino, and Little, I think, are going to lose this draft here, and they are already losing time. We have cut the field down to just 9 cars with 31 laps to go for our playoff entries. Watkins, Velocity, Irizarry, and Luttrell. 2 above the cut line, 1 in a much better position than the other, and 2 below the cut line in a very similar points position are those 2 cars. Actually, excuse me, Luttrell is 10 points above Velocity. Actually, it's 3 above and 1 below. Boy, it's getting a little dicey over here off turn 4. It's starting to get dark. And running about 55-second laps, maybe a little faster than that. They're actually running 50-second laps. We still have 30 to go. That's almost a half an hour. And that's if we run every lap from here on out under green. And you know how Talladega can get towards the end of these races. Although if the field continues to spread apart, obviously that may change just a little bit. And we may have a relatively clean finish this one. But you know how Talladega can get. And man, it is really starting to get dark over here. I'm not sure exactly how long we have until virtual sunset. I don't know. I did not really look, but man, look at these shadows cast across the front stretch. I mean, it's going to be close. The entire front stretch now shrouded in shade or clouds. Not sure which one. It might be shade. It might be clouds. The backstretch still relatively in light, but I mean, it's not a lot. Tell you, I've covered a race before at Talladega that ended up in darkness. It was not great. It's obviously hard to it's hard to run a race in the dark when you don't have lights. You don't have lights at the racetrack, and Talladega notably does not have lights. Now, when they come back around here, notice that there is some more light on the front stretch. So Talladega's been crazy enough. Let's add a darkness storyline to it as well. It harkens me back to some of the real-life races at Talladega that have ended in virtual darkness. Of course, the 2013 Aaron's 499 comes to mind, won by David Reagan. That race, it was very dark at the checkered flag. There's an Xfinity Series race. I can't remember what year this was. It was the Brandon Brown race, I think, that ended in virtual darkness. You can see the facility lights come on towards the end of that one. There have been a few others over the years as well that have ended in virtual darkness. And, of course, you can go beyond Talladega as well. Of course, New Hampshire back in 2021, I think, won by Eric Almirola. That race ended in darkness. So, several races have been called by darkness, but this would be a very interesting way to end the playoff race here, the round of 8 opener at Talladega, if darkness becomes a factor, although now there's a considerably more light here on the front stretch. So we'll keep an eye on it. We still have a long way to go. I mean, coming back 26 laps to go. Still have a bit of a ways to go in this race before we can finish it. So we'll see. Caswell continues to lead the way. This lead draft again is 9 cars deep, 4 playoff cars, 5 non-playoff cars. The 4 playoff cars being Watkins, Velocity, Irizarry, and Luttrell. The 5 non-playoff cars, Caswell, Patty, Catrone, Everett, and Rothery. That second group had sliced a little bit off the deficit, cut it down to about 3.2 seconds to the leader and only about 2.5 to the back end of the Rothery machine, and really only about a second from draft range. Now they've lost time again. They've switched pushers now, and they're going to lose some more time. Let's see if they can gain it back. Obviously going to need some help, I think, in those cars if they are going to win this race. Another tough break for Matt Hayden, who's in that second group. Same with Eldred, Little, and, of course, Rusty Modesty, we noted, lost the draft a while ago. So you'll tick down to 24 to go. We're just waiting now on what would be the last pit cycle of this race under green if we get there. From there, it's all bets are off. Let me tell you, we have set up with some serious storylines here at the front. For the playoff cars, regular season champ Harold Watkins could lock his spot in Phoenix tonight after earlier incidents put him behind the 8 ball. John Velocity, the season 1 champ, could go from the last guy below the cut line to back in the championship 4 with a chance to win his 2nd straight title. GT Irizarry won last week at Las Vegas. He could win back-to-back races and put himself at Phoenix for a chance to win a title, a track he's already won at until in 2025. Steven Luttrell, the underdog of the bunch, is trying to lock his spot into a championship 4 run that I'm not sure any of us, and maybe including him, expected. So those are the 4 playoff cars in this lead draft. But then let's get to the non-playoff cars. And it all starts up front with Garrett Caswell. Garrett Caswell has not made many friends this year in his Challenger Cup Series campaign. He has gotten on the nerves of some drivers and caused some retaliatory actions. Has yet to capture a win, has yet to really finish the job at one of these races, and looking to do so tonight. That team has been through so much. Of course, if you'll remember back to earlier in the season, we told you about the situation with their teammate Austin Johnson and what he's been going through. So to capture your first win, and by the way, after all that team has been through this year, to do it here at Talladega, a place that he loves, a place that he's good at, that would be a huge storyline if he's able to win. Ryan Patty, of course, looking for win number 5 of his Challenger Cup Series career, looking to tick off the Superspeedway. James Catrone's been fast all year, but has just never been able to get above the hump and capture a win. And you know the Oscar Mayer Chevy wants to go to victory lane. You argue he probably should have won at Bristol a few weeks ago, but got an untimely caution. And unfortunately, eventually handed the win over to Andrew Little. So Catrone would love to win this race. You talk about Travis Everett, a Talladega winner from earlier in the year. Not the end of the season that he's wanted, surely, but would love to go back-to-back here at this racetrack. the king of Talladega here in 2025. And then Harold Rothery, a longtime Superspeedway and league racer, a well-respected guy, and a guy that I think a lot of this field would love to see go to victory lane if he can capture the win. So a lot of big storylines. And oh, by the way, I told you earlier that Garrett Caswell has not done a very good job about making friends on the racetrack. Well, he's got 3 of the guys that really particularly do not like him in this lead pack. He's got Watkins, Velocity, and Irizarry all in this lead draft that he'll have to contend with here on this last run. To the outside, Travis Everett and GT Irizarry, the teammates, are the first to move in this front pack with 21 to go. Again, we still anticipate a pit stop at this point. See if and when that does occur. Those 2 on the outside are making a little bit of headway. They're up to Velocity, now up to the right rear of Catrone, looking for 4th. But now they'll fade back to Velocity again. With only 2 cars, it's going to be awfully tough to really get a lot going up there. We'll see what they can do. As the 9 up front continue to run side by side. By the way, second group is being helped by this. With the side drafting and the bit of kind of accordion that happened a moment ago, they have cut their gap from 4 seconds to the tail of the lead draft down to 2.1 and could very well draw even closer here. They're almost back into draft range. They're very clear, hinging on it. They're 2 seconds back. They need about a half a second or a little more to be back in the draft range. They're being helped by that second lane and by Ryan Patty not really pushing. They're under 2 seconds. This could very well end up a 15-car race and bring the other 3 of the 4 other playoff drivers into it as well, with Matt Hayden, Cody Eldred, and Andrew Little, and give us 7 playoff drivers in a lead pack of 15 with just 19 to go at Talladega. They're within 1.65. They're so close. The outside's going to grow now. Catrone to the outside. This will greatly help that second group, who is desperately close to draft range on the leaders. Everett on the outside with Irizarry still. 1.5 has been achieved. Not quite. They're almost there. And they've got it now. They're within a second and a half. They should catch the end of the draft of the lead group and start to work their way back into this one. Buckle up, folks. 18 to go at Talladega, and it's just starting to get good here at the front of the field. Another pit stop coming at some point here in the last 18 laps. We just don't know when it will be. We await that as that second group, man, they've stalled out just a little bit again, so hold that thought. But now the 2 teammates are dropping off the back end of the field, and that's going to greatly help the draft of those cars that run in that second group. It's going to help just a little bit, but now Matt Hayden starts to run out of temps just a little bit, and the lead draft starts to drive away again. And all of a sudden, it's back to a second and a half as the temps run out just a little bit for Matt Hayden, perhaps. But again, they'll start to gain that back. In fact, they did right there before the entrance of turn 1 and got right back in draft range. And again, this front group is not really pushing as hard as they were. Back to 1.2. They're almost there. They've done a lot of good work here. They just got to finish the job and get all the way back to this lead draft. Then they can switch up, set their sights. On the end of this race and potentially even look for a win. They're 6/10 back. They've well gotten the draft. It's 15 cars for the win at Talladega, and 7 are in the playoffs. Will a playoff driver snatch a ticket to Phoenix tonight, or will it be a non-playoff car? Irizarry tried to block Eldred when they got there. It didn't work. They're going to crash. Trouble. Around goes Cody Eldred, right in the middle of the pack. Everett's involved, and GT Irizarry got a piece of it as well, and the caution flag's going to change everything with 16 laps to go. And it's Cody Eldred for the second time tonight. It goes spinning in a shower of sparks at Talladega. Let's see. kind of back this up and show you exactly what happened. Eldred got there in a hurry and took his run right to the outside. Irizarry tried to block and then ran him up out of the groove. They come together in turn one, and around goes Cody Eldred, and around goes Travis Everett as well. And it sends the 34 just for a slide. Now, the good thing is he didn't hit anything, so he should be able to continue and obviously get back out on the racetrack after a pit stop. See it again here. Oh, that's actually a pretty significant hit. We'll have to check on Cody Eldred, actually. He got hit pretty hard right in the left rear suspension, so we'll obviously wait for that. But a simple pretty much spin there in turn number one has completely thrown this race on its head. So we'll wait one more round of pit stops, you'd imagine here. Contact towards the back. Not sure what just happened back there. Beauchamp. Having some problems on pit road. Not sure what happened towards the back of the field. Everybody's going to come down pit road. It is money stop time in Lincoln, Alabama. In the playoff race from Talladega Superspeedway. Go to this camera for now. And we'll try to watch the race off of pit road. Some guys going up on the jack for lefts. Here's the race off pit road. Caswell, Patty, Velocity, Watkins, Luttrell, Roderick, Catrone, Irizarry, Little, and Hayden. Your top five off pit road. Garrett Caswell continues to lead, looking to capture his first win, and we're into the nitty-gritty here at Talladega. But now the playoff desperation starts to grow for some of these drivers. Caswell, again a non-playoff car, but Velocity, Watkins, Luttrell, Irizarry, Little, Hayden, and Modesty, and Eldred, all 8 playoff cars are right back in this. With just 14 coming to 13 laps to go, it'll be 11, or it's going to be 12 to go when we go back green. And again, it looks dark at Talladega. I don't know if it's clouds or if it's sun. If it's clouds or if the sun's behind the grandstands, I genuinely don't know. We are certainly going to hope, that we have enough daylight to finish this one. We will obviously have to wait and see if that's the case. It looks a little bit darker than it was when the clouds were over the racetrack. I can tell you that much just as an observation, but obviously there's more that goes into that. So it'll be 12 to go when we go back green. Garrett Caswell, Ryan Patty is your front row. Then it's John Velocity and Harold Watkins on row 2. James Catrone, Stephen Luttrell on row 3. Harold Rothery, GT Irizarry, row 4. Then Andrew Little and Matt Hayden on row 5. Row 6, Greg Bourbonier and Stephen Rasick. Rusty Modesty is 13th. Cody Eldred has made another trip down pit road. Not sure if that's to fix damage or if that is to top off on fuel. Travis Everett and Mike Martino are also on the lead lap. They're going to file in 14th and 15th. Brandon Beauchamp is now 3 laps down in the 17th position, sitting on pit road. Jimmy Fitzmaurice, Christian Schrader called it a night a while ago. They'll get 18th and 19th. Man, it has been a fun one here at Talladega. A chaotic one, to say the absolute least, but what else could you expect from a track like Talladega? Wonder what Garrett Caswell here will be willing to do to win this race. Obviously, has not made too many friends here in Challenger Cup Series competition, and now this is his best chance to win in a race this season, starting from the point position with 12 laps to go at a drafting track, his kind of bread and butter in terms of what he runs weekly. But he's got a lot of cars behind him that are racing for a little bit more than just a win in a Challenger Cup Series race. They're racing for their seasons. Some could seriously change their fortunes with a win in 12 laps' time. It's crunch time at Talladega. Green flag back in the air. Contact between the leaders. Caswell and Orion Patty, and off we go. Help doesn't really get going either way. It's even between the lines. Watkins will get there. Harold Watkins will get there first. Velocity still trying to get to the back bumper of Caswell. Catrone behind him. Patty on the door of Caswell. They trade paint again. Pushes on the outside. Patty to the race lead. Watkins to second position on the end of the Alabama Gang super stretch. Stephen Luttrell runs third with Irizarry and Matt Hayden and Andrew Little. Playoff party behind Patty on the outside. To the inside go Patty and Watkins, and that leaves the outside lane open for Stephen Luttrell. Looking for a miracle run into the Championship 4 in Season 2 of 2025. They've got to get the outside going, though. They faded all the way back to 6th, make it 7th. And they try to get that line's momentum back going. It's Patty up front with Watkins in second position. 11 to go. Catrone to the outside, where Luttrell goes for the split and ends up out of line. Irizarry, though, I thought he was going to go up there and pick up Luttrell. He doesn't. He's going to pick up Catrone instead. Does anybody go to pick up Luttrell? They don't. Luttrell to the safer barrier. Outside now, Rothery's taking a peek. Peeks back down. Catrone in front of Irizarry on the outside. That's the lead of the middle lane. They're about 6 cars back right now, back around Bourbonniere. Rothery out of line. Caswell out of line. Garrett Caswell to the outside. Gets all the way to the bumper here of Rothery. He'll get pushed by the Busch Light Lime Chevrolet here in turn number 3, and they're going backwards. Though is the problem. Bourbonniere is through on the inside. The Miller Lite Toyota. Irizarry down to the bottom. Luttrell, by the way, got back in on the bottom. He's now working back towards the front of the field. Here comes Garrett Caswell to the outside of to the outside of Velocity and Watkins and Patty for the lead in turn 1. 10 to go. Here comes Caswell. Rothery with him. James Catrone with him. Where did Matt Hayden come from on the outside? Trying to break the broadcasted race curse is the Oakley Chevy, 4th in line on the middle. Andrew Little behind them. Stephen Rasick with them. Luttrell's worked his way back into the middle as well. Drag race down the Alabama Gang super stretch. 10 laps to go. Patty on the inside loses the lead for the time being as Garrett Caswell surges back to the point in turn 3. Pushed by Harold Rothery. Bad push there in turn 3, though. Is going to shuffle the lines. Hayden all the way top shelf. He's going to bring Little. He's going to bring Rasick. He may just bring a couple more friends to the outside, and it's 3 by 3 again. Caswell getting pushed by Rothery. They're trying their best, but now they've lost energy in that middle lane. Watkins is going to get cleared as he jump up in front of a guy he really does not like. The enemy, my enemy is my friend, says Harold Watkins potentially here as he pulls through the second on the inside behind Patty. 9 to go at Talladega. Velocity is there as well. What is he willing to do to get a victory and advance into the round of 8? Caswell not done yet. Pushed by Rothery on the outside. They're going to rally back to the outside of Velocity. They're going to rally back to the outside of Watkins, but now they'll lose a little bit of ground as Rothery backs off the 77, but the 77 side draft is still effective. He'll work to the outside of the Mountain Dew Chevrolet, and for second, it's Caswell, but it's all going on behind Ryan Patty. When they get back, it's 8 laps to go. At Talladega, they come on to the shadow cast front straightaway at Talladega, and they rumble back towards the start-finish line. Patty through on the inside. He's still the leader. Caswell continues to be the outside lanes leader. 8 laps to go. Where did Cody Eldred come from? He's up to 8th. Right in front of Luttrell. Man, Caswell, he's trying everything he can to hold on to the pushes that Rothery's giving him. Rothery is pushing him for all he's worth. He's getting too far outside now, though. That was almost danger zone territory. He's going to split him. Rothery the outside of Caswell. He splits. Catrone can't decide where he wants to go, and the middle loses all of its energy. That's going to bring Matt Hayden back to the party. Rothery down in front of Caswell. That's who I'd want pushing me personally if I was Rothery, but man, he cannot decide where he wants to go here. No Line has an advantage off turn 4 back from 5th on back. Up front, the top 3 make it the top 4. And almost top 5. Here comes the Daytona winner. Rusty Modesty into the picture. 7 more circuits around Talladega. Shooting through the middle. A couple cars. Eldred, Caswell trying to shoot the gap. Right behind Rothery. Hayden's going to jump down. He splits Catrone. Caswell trying to get Rothery to the point. They're up to Bourbonnier in 4th. When do Watkins and Velocity get a little bit urgent here? They're going to have to go for it here. Ziri stuck on the bottom. So is Luttrell right behind Travis Everett. Oh, Caswell turns the 7 down. Irizarry makes the save. Everybody's still straight. That's going to get Modesty almost clear on the inside. It gets Bourbonnier clear in the Miller Lite Toyota. He has yet to win a Challenger Cup Series race. Modesty, there's the move. The Sinclair Ford Mustang, the Daytona winner from a couple of months back, to the outside at Talladega. 6 laps to go. He's to the outside of Velocity. Here comes the middle. Rothery coming to him. Of course, pushed Caswell to the lead just a moment ago. They got to square it up. And now it's Rusty Modesty looking to do the same thing he did back at Daytona. They've got a monster jump off the outside of the racetrack coming forward to the front of the field. They're even with Bourbonnier. They make that pass to the right rear Velocity. They are flying down the back straightaway. When they come back around, they'll get 5 fingers at the flag stand, and he surges all the way to the lead. Rusty Modesty to the front with just 6 to go. Rothery will get clear too. They're tandeming away from the field. They're getting a little too far out for my liking here as they continue to run the middle. They're going to bring Caswell with them. They're going to bring more cars. Eldred, Rasick, Catrone all joining the party on the outside as the inside falls apart with 5 laps to go. Modesty blinks. Comes back trouble. Rasick gets turned. Watkins gets turned. And the big one strikes in turn 1. They fly apart. Andrew Little bouncing up into the air. John Velocity's involved. Major damage to the Fuel Fest Chevy. And again, playoff cars go scattering across the turn 1 banking. Just an unreal set of laps there at Talladega Superspeedway. Some of the best racing I've ever seen in the Challenger Cup Series as these guys are laying it on the line. We'll go back. We'll take a look at what brought out the 6th caution of the night. Another big incident, and this one may have consequences. I don't know if John Velocity still has a faster pair in the pits. I don't know if Harold Watkins does either. This one's going to start with Steven Rasick. Let's go up top. Got to get an idea of what exactly goes on. You're going to see the 21. Does he just follow the 34 down? He does. You see him coming down right there. Still coming down, still coming down. Ryan Patty, there's no real estate he can go to. He gets into Rasick, turns him sideways. Watkins gets turned up. Irizarry, that's a big hit for the 14. Little gets the wall. Does Matt Hayden get through this? I think he might. Ryan Patty trying to slide. You see Velocity up there. He got a big bit of contact with the wall. His hood came up. You see a big contact right there. It's Little and Irizarry top, or Little and Velocity top left of your screen. We'll go back and watch that contact in more detail. Boy, oh boy. Let's go up here to Harold Watkins. We'll show you what happens to the rest of the playoff cars in this. So again, this wreck starts, and as Watkins tried to miss it, Velocity gets loose or gets turned and goes down into Watkins. This is a secondary incident. Watch some of these hits right here. Martino into the wall. Irizarry big into the wall. Little bounces off it a couple times. You see Watkins get a big piece of the wall, and then Andrew Little comes down, and this is the one that really batters the side of John Velocity's car as Little gets the rear tires off the ground and knocks the hood out of whack on the Velocity machine. It spins him sideways as well. We'll watch one more angle. Headed down into turn one. The most consequential crash of the night with 5 to go. Race it gets turned, and it was on from there. Boy, oh boy. So we will re-rack with what will be an overtime finish. We haven't used many of these this season. We will use one here at Talladega in the round of 8. Rusty Modesty had just gotten to the race lead when that started. With the help of the guy running right behind him, Harold Rothery. Garrett Caswell is third. Cody Eldred is fourth. What a story it would be for Eldred. He is yet to win in this series. Would love to make his first win one that sends him to Phoenix. James Catrone looking to get to victory lane as well. He is fifth. And oh boy, a critical connection issue for Rusty Modesty, and he is back. But boy, it was dire straits for a moment. So a critical connection issue there for a moment. Man, the connection issues continue for Rusty Modesty. These are really critical connection issues, and I would not be surprised to see the iRacing stewards do something about this, and really the race control on track as well. Up in the tower, I'm a little surprised. I know you don't want to penalize a playoff car, but I mean, it's pretty critical when you're at a drafting track and obviously you're having these issues. Remember back to the Chicago Street Course very early on in this second season. Remember back to Christian Schrader. He had a similar issue. He blinked all the way through the second half of that race. But at a street course, obviously, it was annoying for myself to kind of, see the camera blink in and out. But at a street course, obviously, you're not as close together. It's more just you against the racetrack, and you really don't have to worry as much about the blinking. At a drafting track, it literally is a matter of your race as to, whether or not you blink and have help behind you at the right time. So, or Modesty, we'll see if that issue solves itself enough to run these last 2 laps, or if it's going to take the hopes of some guys behind him with him. We'll see if he also just dives out of line if it happens again. You saw him doing it on the caution laps, so we'll see if that happens here under green as well. Let's re-rack it for you. Rusty Modesty and Harold Rothery will restart on row 1. Behind them, Garrett Caswell and Cody Eldred. On row 3, it'll be James Catrone, Ryan Patty. Row 4, Travis Everett and Greg Bourbonier. Row 5, Matt Hayden and Stephen Luttrell. Row 6, John Velocity and Harold Watkins. Row 7, going to be the Andrew Little and Mike Martino machines. Then GT Irizarry is a lap down in 16th. Brandon Beauchamp has all but retired his car. He continues to sit on pit road. 15 lead lap cars. all but one of the playoff cars in contention. 7 of the 8 playoff contenders have a chance to win it at Talladega and punch their ticket to Phoenix. Who will it be? It's Challenger Cup Series overtime on the Precision Production Network. Green flag, 2 laps to go at Talladega. Off to the races is Modesty. Off to the races is Rothery. And away we go. If they get back to the white flag, the race is official. If we don't, we will re-rack and try again. I believe we have 3 attempts, if needed, for a green-white checkered finish. To the outside, Watkins and Little go 3 wide on Luttrell. Will it get anywhere, though? They only have 2 cars. The inside's got a lot more momentum, and they are rolling forward. To the outside goes Travis Everett. Catrone was looking to go there, too. Matt Hayden bursts through the gap on the bottom. He's now 5th. Velocity's up to 6th. Tandeming away, Rothery and Modesty. To the outside goes Everett of Velocity. Velocity trying to block. Matt Hayden trying to block the 84. Off turn 4. No momentum to the outside. Hayden looking for the move. Catrone trying to go with him. Catrone dives back in line, but it's Hayden and Caswell that will get together. Modesty's blinked out. He's completely gone. White flag is up. 1 lap to go at Talladega, and it's all to fight for. Modesty is a car length out front. Here comes Garrett Caswell. Caswell on the outside. Matt Hayden is the pusher. Off the end of turn 2. Caswell's going to go down. It was a little early. He can't block that now. Patty goes with Caswell. Where did Steven Luttrell come from? Luttrell through to the outside. Caswell to the lead, but the push is on the top. And it's Matt Hayden that goes to the point. Off into turn 3. Will tonight be the night? Into turn 3 for the final time, Harold Watkins has knifed his way back into the top 6. Luttrell on the bumper. It's a trio of playoff cars. Who's going to punch their ticket to Phoenix? Luttrell to move to the inside. They'll drag race through the tri-oval. It'll be a photo finish. Hayden, Luttrell at the line. The streak is over. Matt Hayden wins at Talladega. Two years of not winning a broadcasted race have come to an end on the high banks of Talladega as Matt Hayden punches a ticket to Phoenix. It's heartbreak for Luttrell, who made what I thought was a race-winning move. Comes up just short of punching his ticket. But for Matt Hayden, this is a win that is a long time coming. I've had the pleasure of calling a few different league environments for Matt Hayden over the past 2 years. He had never won a race where I was on the call, and we always made a joke about it back and forth. Tonight, the jokes are over. It's Matt Hayden that gets the win at Talladega. He'll burn it down on the front stretch. He's going to Phoenix to race for a championship. So as we start to draw things to a close at Talladega here for the round of 8, do want to go back before we give you the results and obviously talk to our top 3. I won't waste too much time here. Our top 3 are ready. But I did want to go back and just kind of analyze the white flag. We did have some crashing coming back to the white flag, or excuse me, on the white flag lap. So let's kind of go through it and go high above and just kind of see what happens here on the white flag lap, because we did have some playoff cars that had some problems. So let's go back and take a look. Obviously, we'll show you the margin of victory as well. Trying to figure out how Garrett Caswell ended up outside the top 10. What happens to the 77 here? I think he's the first one I saw kind of get out of shape in the trial. Let's see here off turn 4. Now Patty goes to split. Does it start behind them? Harold Watkins ends up in 10th here, by the way. He's 5th when they come to the line, or 6th. Oh, Patty tries to squeeze in a gap that maybe is not there. And gets into both Caswell and Eldred. Both of them go sliding. Watkins actually is going to get kind of tail whipped. He's going to get a piece. Modesty gets a piece. Rothery, Catrone, Bourbonnier. We wrecked the whole field. Andrew Little's in it. Velocity's in it. Martino. That's all but 2 cars. They get a piece, and they all come scrambling across the line. Goodness gracious. Well, that was a melee there in the trial. Well, I didn't realize the wreck was quite that big. But now, obviously, we want to go up front here and show you this margin of victory. And we're going to try to find the best camera for it. I want to say TV Follow has always kind of been the best camera to determine your margin of victory. And it was very close. I can tell you it was within a couple hundredths. But we will show you the margin of victory. A drag race between playoff cars below the cut line at one point tonight. It's going to be Matt Hayden. Nope, didn't quite... Stop at the right point. And there it is. There's your margin of victory at Talladega. A nose for Matt Hayden over Stephen Luttrell is enough to get the job done. We're actually going to keep this on screen as we go through your finishing results here at Talladega Superspeedway, and then we'll get into some post-race interviews as well. A wild one at Talladega is complete, and it's Matt Hayden that punches a ticket to the Championship 4 in Phoenix in 2 weeks. He wins in Talladega tonight by 27 one-thousandths of a second over Stephen Luttrell, who, despite missing the win, had possibly the second best night of anybody in the playoffs. A stage win and a second-place finish. And, oh, by the way, the next best playoff car finished 5th. And after that, the next best playoff car finished 9th. Surely Luttrell will head to Martinsville well above the cut line. And I'm talking to the tune of maybe 12 to 15 points above the cut line, and has put himself in an incredible position to potentially race for a championship in Phoenix. He goes second tonight. A heartbreaker, but again, a lot to race for still for him. Another top 3 for Greg Bourbonnier. We talked to him back at Atlanta. He gets another one tonight in Talladega. He comes home in 3rd. A great finish for that group. Same with Steven Rasick. How about the run for the 21 in the 4th spot? Really great run for that machine in 4th. Rusty Modesty comes home 5th. Considering the connection issues, I think you would take that in the 5th position. He'll likely be around that cut line as well next week. James Catrone 6th. Ryan Patty 7th. Patty led some laps tonight. Actually finished this one at Talladega, unlike Daytona, but fortunately does not win. Rothery had a really inspiring run towards the end. He'll go 8th. John Velocity, going to be interesting to see where he pans out in the points. He finishes 9th. Harold Watkins finishes 10th after being 5th in turn 3. Cody Eldred, after being 4th on the last lap, finishes 11th. Andrew Little finishes in 12th. A pair of disappointing runs for those playoff drivers. Mike Martino in 13th. Another heartbreaker for Garrett Caswell. Gets split on the last lap and then gets collected in the incident in the trial. Well, he'll go 14th tonight. Travis Everett, a tough break in 15th. GT Irizarry, boy, not the start of the round of 8 that he wanted. He'll go 16th. Brandon Beauchamp in 17th. Jimmy Fitzmaurice in 18th. Christian Strader in 19th. Well, the top three are ready for us, so let's get right in to our top three finishers. The camera will adjust here to obviously show Greg Bourbonier, as we will get to him first. It's the driver of the 00 Miller Lite Camry, the second podium finish for him this year. At least he's listed there on the screen. I thought Racing passed him, but maybe not at the line. So Bourbonier is listed as third, so we will get to him first in the Miller Lite Camry. Another top five, another top three finish for him at Talladega here this week, to make sure all the audio is correct so that they can all hear you. And then let's get into it after that. It's Greg Bourbonier finishing third tonight at Talladega. Greg, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
I'll talk to you back in Atlanta after a podium finish, and kind of a similar finish tonight as we had back there in that race, and a complete melee across the line, but you survived to a degree, I would think is how I would put it, and you managed to come away with a third-place finish. A wild one, though, at Talladega. Take me through your night, how you got to a third-place finish.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think we I don't think we deserved that finish there for sure, but we'll take it. Going across sideways is always fun. Very hectic at the end. Pretty much just save fuel all night long, try and find the 36 at the end to try and push him into the next round. Looks like we came just a little bit short doing that, but you know, don't feel too happy about this type of third, but you know what, we'll take it. It was fun night racing.
Well, definitely a fun night here at Talladega, and a chaotic one. And look, you know, you talked about the 36 there, and obviously working with him a little bit. He finishes second tonight. You know, kind of take me through what goes through a driver's mind in these scenarios late in these races. You've got playoff cars around you where you want to help somebody, but you got to kind of figure out, you know, how to get to that person. You're also racing around 7 other playoff cars. Just kind of take the viewers through what it's like to kind of work through those playoff cars and try to, you know, try to work around them. Obviously, don't want to push too far, but also, you know, you want to try to go for the win yourself. Just take me through the balance of that at the end of one of these races.
Yeah, I think you're 60-40, trying to win it for yourself, but that 40% is you're focused on kind of the people around you, like you said. You're not trying not to get too aggressive with the guys that you're not trying to get to that are in the playoff field. So all night long, kind of just watching your P's and Q's, pushing the guys that you know you're going to race with these guys next season. So want to make sure you're kind of on their good side without screwing them over too much, but we're mainly looking for your guy, you know, looking for Steven all night long, trying to make sure that we're linked up with him, and just was difficult all night. I mean, these guys it was kind of beating and banging. You could tell from the start. I mean, we really couldn't get into a flow until the middle of the race, so it was tough night.
Well, Martinsville and Phoenix still to go this season for you. Obviously, still got something to race for here the next couple weeks. So, kind of what is your game plan, your confidence level as we head forward to Martinsville next week and then Phoenix in a couple weeks?
Oh man, Martinsville, what a big change, right? Yeah, I mean, I like the short tracks. They're always fun. Just try and keep your nose clean there, and go fast, you know, wrap the bottom as much as I can. Phoenix, obviously, just sit back and enjoy these guys duking it out for the Season 2 championship. If we can get there up front, we will, but I'm mostly just looking forward to seeing these Final Four get after each other in Phoenix for sure. So, yeah, thanks, Dawson.
Well, absolutely. I do want to give you a chance before we let you go here and get ready for Martinsville next week. Any thank you shout-outs you'd like to give here on your way out?
Oh, man, these guys are great to race with. You're great at what you do. I mean, you show up every week, and we really appreciate you, the energy you put into the broadcast. I'm sure, hopefully this isn't the last time I talk to you this season, but if not, I'm looking forward to talking to you next season, and keep watching Challenger out there, folks. It's always a good show with these guys. These are some great race car drivers.
Boy, a heck of a show tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. You get a third-place finish out of it. Congrats on the effort tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you next week in Martinsville.
Thank you, sir.
Greg Bourbonier, third place tonight at Talladega. We're going to talk to a guy that's probably got a lot going through his head here at Talladega tonight at the finish of this one. One spot short of what would have been a berth into the Final Four at Phoenix, but probably the best night of a guy not named Matt Hayden, who obviously gets the victory tonight at Talladega. So we'll talk to the man who finished second. You know, I talked about him coming in, and this was kind of the night I had circled for him to make the Final Four, but now you could argue next week he's going into an even better scenario than he would have been without this finish tonight. He finishes second tonight. It's the 36th, the bright orange Toyota Camry of Stephen Luttrell, the second-place finisher from Talladega. Steven, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You get a copy?
I sure do, Dawson. How's it going?
Well, not too bad. Look, I got to imagine a lot going through your mind right now. Obviously, a bit of a chaotic ending to this race, chaotic race altogether that saw you lead a lot of laps. You get a stage win, get some bonus points, and at the end, it looked like you made the right move in the tri-oval. Take me through the last couple laps of this one. Unfortunately, just a little bit short for you, but still a really good night at Talladega.
Yeah, we got the green flag there, and the 34 couldn't seem to be the front car. I don't know what was going on there. That was weird. So I jumped down and started seeing where lines were moving and decided to follow Matt. And I saw the bottom open up, and I just that was the only thing I needed, and took it. And just unfortunately, it didn't pan out. I think they all wrecked behind me, so nobody was pushing either one of us, and he was the last one to get the side draft. So yeah, it just pulled me over and just couldn't quite get it.
Well, I kind of segued into this interview by talking about the night that you did have, though, and that's a stage win. Obviously, that's 5 bonus points, a second-place finish, when really the next best playoff cars finished 5th and 9th and then on back from there, and ran up front, led a lap. You get a bonus point there. You kind of scattered some points tonight to where you're going to go into Martinsville next week in a really good points position for that race. Are you still satisfied tonight with P2? Did you feel like tonight was the opportunity? Or, does Martinsville next week, does it still feel attainable for you to be racing in Phoenix here in 2 weeks?
I've been thinking about this race all day since I got up this morning. I feel like this was my only opportunity to make it to the top 4, but, like you said, winning the stage, leading some laps, and I don't know. We'll just have to see where the points fall. I like Martinsville. I'm a fan of it, but you just have to keep your nose clean and the bumpers or the fenders on the thing. So if we could just stay up front, I think we'll have a chance.
Obviously, we are looking forward to that race here in just 7 days' time. You talked about staying up front, but obviously you're going to have to avoid chaos as well. Real quick, what's the game plan to kind of stay out of the mess at Martinsville? Obviously hard to, especially late in a race, especially what's going to be at stake next week as well. Just kind of what's the game plan to avoid all the mess and try to weave your way through it and be in a spot to get to the championship 4.
I think there's only 2 game plans for Martinsville. It's either qualify on the first 2 rows or go ahead and qualify in the last 2 rows. either be ahead of the wreck or have enough time to stop for it. But we'll just have to go in there and see what happens.
We're looking forward to it at Martinsville tonight, though. A second-place finish for you at Talladega. Obviously, a really good points night for you. So before we let you go and prep for next week in Martinsville, do want to give you an opportunity. Any thank yous or shout-outs you'd like to give?
Oh, yeah. You putting on this broadcast. I love rewatching these. And Rusty and Matt and all them for putting on this league. This is a great league. As much as I give them a hard time about the car, just for fun. But no, this is a great bunch of race car drivers here. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't want to race anywhere else on a Tuesday. So I got to thank my mom, my dad, my wife for letting me spend all this time and money, and I got to thank my two daughters and my grandson Mason, who's out there watching. Hey, Mason.
I appreciate your time for talking to me here for just a second. Congratulations on the second place run tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you next week in Martinsville.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Steven Luttrell, second place tonight, but pretty hopeful for him, I think, is the tone that I got of the driver of the 36 headed to a race in Martinsville where he could very well drive his way into a Final Four appearance. Well, folks, let me tell you, I'm going to segue to this one. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I want to mention it again. This is an interview that's a long time coming, and this is a moment that's a long time coming. Again, it's been almost a couple years since I first got to call races with Matt Hayden in them, and it became apparent pretty early that things were going to happen. The racing gods or the fate or luck or what have you, whatever you want to blame, was going to keep Matt Hayden from going to victory lane as long as I was on the microphone. And it became apparent when these things were happening, crashes, pit penalties, spins, whatever the case may be, bad strategy, just all these kinds of things that got in the way. And then it became really apparent when I would miss a week say at a New Hampshire Motor Speedway, for example, which is the first one I can remember, and Matt Hayden would immediately go to victory lane. So over time, what seems to have become a curse has grown into this legend, this ongoing running joke between myself and him that's now run across 2 to 3 different leagues. It's run across almost 2 years of total time. And it even happened last season in this very league. When Matt Hayden got a victory in Season 1, I was not there for it. I had to miss that race for whatever reason. He went to victory lane, and the curse was reborn again here in Challenger Cup Series racing. Well, tonight, finally, after a very long time, that curse has been lifted as Matt Hayden finally goes to victory lane in a race broadcasted by myself. We're going to get to talk to him now. He's punched a ticket to Phoenix, but honestly, I think that's going to come second to just winning a race with me here in the broadcast booth, and we'll obviously jab him a little bit about that, but we'll get his thoughts on not only winning and kind of breaking that streak, if you will, but also punching his ticket to the Championship 4 at Phoenix, giving him a chance to race for a Challenger Cup Series title for the first time in a calendar year. It's Matt Hayden in the 5 in Challenger Cup Series victory lane at Talladega. Matt, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Give that one more go. Matt Hayden, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dawson, I got you.
Well, look, this one's a while in the making. We both know the story. We both know I've called it a curse. I've called it a streak. And we were waiting for the one race where it all kind of came together, and it finally does tonight. I'll ask about that first. Is it on your mind at all? Obviously, it's going back, man. It feels like almost 2 years at this point that this curse, if you will, has lasted. You'll win when I'm not here. When I'm here, it just seems like nothing wants to go your way at the end of these races. Tonight, it finally comes together. Man, first off, just the emotions coming across the line, getting that monkey off your back, getting a win here tonight at Talladega.
But I spent most of the race not thinking about it because I felt like most of the race we didn't have a shot. We kind of got stuck in the back. Never really felt like we could get enough momentum. Just didn't like how everything felt with the car. Couldn't put any runs together. Couldn't hook up with the right cars. The green flag pit cycle, we kind of got spread out, which luckily we caught back up, and then we had a caution right after that. So didn't think about it at any point. Didn't think that we had a shot at it, and then it crossed my mind for just a second because we kind of had a run, got out front, and then I felt that orange 36 creeping up on the low side, and I said, "Man, we're about to lose a close one again." Just went our way this time for the first time in a very long time.
Obviously, we got to talk about the ramifications of the win as well, and that's that you're going to be racing in Phoenix now in 2 weeks for a championship. I talked about it's been a full year since you've gotten a race for a title. You'll now get another opportunity here in 2 weeks. We'll start with next week first, then I'll ask you about Phoenix here in a second. Next week at Martinsville now, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. I don't think that's the right way to put it, but obviously you're going to be looking forward to that championship race. How do you attack Martinsville, knowing you're already locked in? Kind of what's the game plan for you next week to keep the momentum up, get ready to head and race for a championship?
Obviously it's a big weight off the shoulders. Martinsville is kind of, iRacing is just as treacherous as a Talladega race. So this is the toughest stretch, just in general, 2-race stretch, because you have such two difficult tracks in different ways. I mean, this is toss up, and I'm not going to take away the fact that this was a Talladega race is a crapshoot, and I don't think we were the best on the track, and I think we just we're at the right place at the right time, and sometimes that's all it takes. Martinsville in iRacing is turned into a kind of a pit strategy thing, because it's as soon as you can get fuel to stay out the rest of the time, tires doesn't seem to matter because we pace so much with it. So it's taking the fun out of the racing. Maybe I don't. Maybe we'll have green flag runs and it'll be a fun race, but history don't lie. So, but yeah, taking that out of the equation for us to where we can just kind of run that race and really look at what we're going to do for Phoenix. And it's we had a decent run with Christian when we did have that race for the championship there last time. I think we were second place car to him, and then had some troubles and issues running into the 17 car. But yeah, I don't know. It's looking forward to it now. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to it and wasn't sure if we were going to make it there, especially with no stage points coming our way earlier tonight. So it was kind of in the back of the mind, like, man, the only chance I've got is to win this one because I'm not confident about Martinsville, and this was the only one that was attainable, I think, in my mind. So we got that accomplished, and damn, it feels good to win one.
Well, let's talk about Phoenix as well quickly. Obviously now in 2 weeks, you're going to get an opportunity to race for a title. You kind of get to sit back and watch and see who will join you in that race in 2 weeks. What's the confidence level, and what is, the game plan for Phoenix? Obviously, you talked about last year, the speed that you had in that race. What's the confidence level this year? Is it the same? Is it a little higher maybe now that you have another week to prepare for it? Kind of take me through, the early mindset for you looking forward to racing for a title in 2 weeks' time.
I mean, I like Phoenix. I like Phoenix in a bunch of different cars. In the next gen car, it's those tire saving long runs, which is when we get to the championship race, I think when you only have 4 guys in contention and the rest of the league that knows that, we tend to have longer green flag runs, and Phoenix is a easy track to, where you could get a stack of cautions, or it could go the other way to where, go green from the start. So it makes it a lot more difficult to try to come up with a strategy because you just don't know, what that race pace is going to look like. I like the way Phoenix races. I feel, like I said, if there's a whole other tracks that I wouldn't want to be at compared to Phoenix. Like I would prefer Phoenix over a lot of other tracks. There's a lot of other tracks I'd prefer the championship to be at, but it is what it is. We just have to really get. I've slacked off, and it's shown this season with racing. A-fix races and NISs and stuff like that, and a lot of other guys have put it on their schedules to race it through the week, and it shows on track, and it shows in my pace that I need to put in a little more work. So we'll probably do that just to make sure that we're comfortable with the track, and then it's just going to be, it is what it is. There's not a lot you can do to predict it. We're just going to get out there and try to haul ass on the track.
Took a step towards that tonight, got it out of the way early in the round of 8. You win your way into Phoenix and a Championship 4 berth here tonight at Talladega. Do want to give you an opportunity, though, before we let you go, and not only prepare for next week in Martinsville, but also the opportunity to race for a Challenger Cup Series title. Any thank you, shout-outs you'd like to give here tonight at Talladega on your way out?
Yeah, obviously with everyone Challenger Racing League, we're all a group of friends here that wanted to do our own thing and put on a league where we can have fun, and I think we've accomplished that, and we've got a great group of guys here. Obviously we'll be looking to bring on some more people for the upcoming season. We've got a couple of things. Rusty kind of brought up a few things that we're going to try to do. A big event. We can't really say anything right now, but it's going to involve some more people, I guess we can say. I want to thank the guys I run with Endurance, VSHW Racing. Also, want to thank Velocity for pushing me. He had a chance to step out in line there. He stayed on my bumper early. Man, Luttrell also too. It's take a win from somebody that you like, and you've kind of, it sucks to have side drafting like that, and especially he was the one that he stuck to my bumper and pushed me up there, and he had to go for it, and he dove down low, and we had to pinch him down, and worked out for us. But hell of a race from him. He was up front for most of the damn race. So, if anybody else deserved it, it would have been him. And man, but especially want to thank you and the channel here for hosting us and putting us out there and letting us tear up virtual race cars for everyone's entertainment. So just appreciate everyone out there for watching.
Appreciate your time for talking to me. Congratulations on the win here tonight at Talladega. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you at Martinsville next week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks to race for a Challenger Cup Series championship.
All right, we're going to go get a cold beer.
That's a beverage well earned, I would say. The 5 of Matt Hayden tonight at Talladega. Well, that will start to wrap things up here from the Talladega Superspeedway. And what a race it was. Good grief. You want to talk about an incredible one here tonight from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. That's exactly what we got. We got chaos. We got calamity. Playoff drivers having problems. Guys recovering from problems. Big runs, big pushes, big blocks. And a photo finish to boot. And a ton of storylines headed forward into next week. My favorite track on the circuit is Talladega. I knew tonight would deliver, and it did in the form of a big win for the 5 of Matt Hayden. Not only does he break a curse that's been going for almost 2 years, but also now punches his ticket to race for a championship in Phoenix in 2 weeks' time. We'll start to wrap up coverage here tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. As for the first time, the Challenger Cup Series was live on the Precision Production Network. Again, I want to take an opportunity to thank the folks over there, DJ Lyon, all the folks over there in the management department as well, and also all the broadcasting folks at Precision for not only giving me the resources I need to succeed, but also allowing Challenger Cup Series to bring its content here to this network, and hopefully going forward we'll continue to establish that relationship with the Precision Production Network and this league. It's a lot of great racing. It's a lot of really great drivers and good people, and obviously the good people over at Precision as well. Looking forward to the growth of that. We've got a season to finish here in the Challenger Cup Series, obviously, as we'll continue forward on Precision Production Network. Next up on tap tomorrow night, it is the Moonshiners Racing League Obi Builders Cup Series playoffs here from Talladega. The round of 8 continues for the Obi Builders Cup Series. It'll be myself co-hosting alongside host Justin Prince for another edition of Moonshiners Racing. And boy, the playoffs have been electric. If you have missed any of those races, go catch up. It's been a lot of fun. Tomorrow night, sure to be a wild one as we'll lock another driver into the Phoenix finale in 2 weeks' time. After that, for me, I am done for the week. I believe we'll be back next Tuesday night. Next up for Challenger Cup Series action, it's the round of 8 cutoff race on the paperclip Martinsville Speedway as we lock in the final 4 who will race in Phoenix in 2 weeks' time for a Challenger Cup Series championship. It's going to be a lot of fun. Only 2 races left in the normal season 2 here, and then obviously we'll have the Atlanta race. I think that's going to get moved to November the 18th, so keep on the lookout for some updates on that as we continue forward in this season. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me here on the Precision Production Network. We'll be back tomorrow night for Moonshiners Racing League. We'll be back next Tuesday, though, for the Challenger Cup Series as we lock in the Final 4 at Martinsville. Congratulations to Matt Hayden and the 5 team for locking in tonight to race for a title in Phoenix in 2 weeks after a wild one here at Talladega. Until next time, bid you adieu.